Hi guys, and welcome back. Another edition of Property Chat, just me in the office all alone. Very weird, I must say. I do miss the buzz of the office, the phones ringing, everybody kind of shouting across the office. For me, that's the essence of agency. So it's very strange to be sort of standing here alone. But it is what it is, right? Very strange times. I'm not going to be one of those guys that goes on about, what's happening with COVID and how dangerous it is. I think we all know that, and we've all kind of got used to that thing. My advice to you is, I mentioned this on the last video, watch the news once a day. Don't watch it all day, every day, because it can be quite depressing. The news generally, nobody likes positive news, it seems. Everybody wants the negatives, and there are some positives out there, and I'll give you a very good example of that. We currently have a fantastic school close by. Many of you will know that we're quite attached. Norbury Manor Business and Enterprise College is a local girls' high school, and they've been making PPE equipment. They've been doing masks. They've even donated the science goggles to local key workers. Absolutely amazing effort, but they've run out of material. So what I've done is I've started a Just Giving page, and I'll put that onto Facebook as well, and I'll send you the links on YouTube so that you can donate if you feel like doing so. It's a fantastic local cause. Obviously, the problem the school has is twofold. They're going to need the material to produce more because they're in need, and number two, they're going to need to replace those goggles. So be grateful if you could help them. It's a fantastic local school and a great cause in these times. People say that schools are closed and nothing's happening. There's a great example of the local school engaging, seeing a demand, seeing a need, and meeting it. And it's nothing less than I've come to expect from the school in particular. This year in the national finals, they went to a singing competition and they came second in the whole country, beaten by Wellington, and only just. So that was very frustrating. So, but that's the kind of people they are and the kind of things that are going on. A couple of shout outs to local things. I mean, I always think now we're at home, what is there to do? What should we be watching? Couple of people to watch out for if you're not following already. Sam Jennings, she's always a fun one to watch. She always shoots straight from the hip. So have a look out for Sam Jennings and see what she's saying. And if you're interested in fitness, especially for the ladies, Madhya Rashid Rahman is a fantastic resource locally. She's always posting videos specifically around physical fitness, and well worth a look. The local Joe Wicks, if you will, but well worth a look. She's a great lady, and she's looking to help where she can. Now, in terms of landlords, we need to have a conversation. It's the elephant in the room. I know many of you with tenants won't like to have conversations with them at this time, but you do need to have these dialogues. I know they're difficult conversations, but it's fair to say that as many of my landlords rely on their income as tenants relied on the income from their employment. So it's very important to know and understand where your tenants are and to help them. If you're a managed landlord with us, we've already sent the letters, the emails to your tenants, and we're having discussions with them daily about what their options are. But the bottom line is that if a tenant is furloughed and they're receiving 80% of their salary, given that a roof over one's head is one primary concern in life, then because there's nothing else literally to spend your money on, if you're getting your full salary less 20%, you should still be able to pay your rent. Many tenants are still under the false impression that this is a payment holiday time for landlords, and landlords are getting off without paying anything. Why should we pay our rent? And of course, that's not true. The payment holidays are only there discretionary, and also, more importantly, these payment holidays, they're not really a holiday. Most important that tenants, that your landlords are having to add that amount onto their mortgage at the end of this, meaning that their mortgage actually increases by the amount that they don't pay. Very critical to know this, because it lets you understand that they're not actually missing these payments, they're just being added on for them to have to fund in extra interest later, and then ultimately the full amount at some point. So if you're a landlord and you haven't yet had a conversation with your tenant, you need to be doing that to find out where they're at. If they're not working or they have been made redundant, well, that's very sad, but then you need to come on to the next question is, are they claiming universal credit? Because if they are, an element of that will be housing benefit, and that housing benefit, or what's now called the local housing allowance, should form a part of their payment to you as a landlord. The most important thing in all this, in my experience, is communication. And so make sure you get out there and communicate with your tenants, landlords. Tenants, similarly, if you have an issue, the best thing you can possibly do is have dialogue with your landlords. Send them an email if you feel awkward having a conversation, but make sure they understand what your issues are and where you're up to. What we're finding is locally, the weather's better, so much less in terms of heating problems, that sort of thing. And it seems that the pressure's coming off in terms of the new hospitals. I hear from one of my landlords who's in the medical profession, says that the new Nightingale hospitals are nowhere near capacity. And in fact, it looks like the one in Birmingham may be used for other purposes. That's good news, I think. It shows that capacity has not been breached and we're well within that, and hopefully that will continue. And I suspect 3 weeks from now, things will start getting back slowly to normal. Is there a new normal? Well, yeah, it's going to take time to recover from this, no doubt, and probably longer than we all expect on the one hand. But on the other hand, at some point, we will start getting back to work, and people will always need to buy and sell houses. It has already been said in the media that estate agencies and the like will be the first people back into work, and that makes sense to me because there are lots of other income streams that actually work around housing. So once the housing market gets back to normal, so other things will trip in. Unlike many people who think that the market's going to fall off a cliff and prices are going to go through the floor, I actually think that what will happen is there'll just be a much lower level of transactions, and that's what I expect to happen. Nobody can know. This is unprecedented, I know, but I think that a lot of people that were considering selling will put those ideas on hold. Those that will need to sell will have less competition for that reason. And actually, I was just speaking to one of my larger investor clients yesterday who has a portfolio of rental properties with us, and he was saying he's ready for this to end now, because always in his business he's found that the best times to invest are post any crisis. So the moment this ends, he's looking forward to going out there and buying, and he says they're the best decisions he's ever made. So could well be a good time for you to get involved, because nobody's going to tell you. There's not going to be a big sign come up saying now is the time to go out and invest. Look at the numbers, be logical about it. If you're thinking of investing for income, then make sure that those numbers stack. Obviously we're here if you need advice or a chat. You know, we're always up for that. But I hope your family and you are staying well and safe and finding things to do with your time. Finally, my advice to you is, you know, we know this is a terrible tragedy, it's awful and all the rest of it, but there are certain things that are outside of your control, and really this is outside of your control to a large degree, but you can control other things around it. You can start thinking about what will you do post this crisis, what are you doing for exercise perhaps. You know, things like this. What about education? What about things that you can learn if you have extra time? Can you volunteer? You know, there are all sorts of things you can be doing. So don't worry about the larger crisis, because that's not within your control. Worry about what you can do and how you can control your own situation post this crisis. You know, control your own bubble and see what you can do within that to make sure that when this ends, that you're in the best possible place. And that might be, if you're in business, looking at your website, seeing how you can improve that while you're quiet and don't have other distractions. It might mean remaking your business plan, because hope is not a plan. You know, you do need to think about, oh, I hope it'll all be all right. Well, actually, things are different. You need to plan for this crisis, and all businesses will. So if you're in business, think about what you can do post this crisis to make sure you survive it. Because of course, there are many businesses that will fold, and many careers will be changed as well. And I also think many people will find different ways of working. You know, and some people will find that actually they've worked from home and it's been so successful that perhaps their whole business model has changed. Personally, for me, you know, we are at the coalface estate agent. I like being in the office. I like the buzz of being around others. I think there's nothing like a sales environment where we're all on the phone and, you know, cracking the next deal. It's actually the atmosphere for me. And I don't think that can be recreated at home or in an artificial environment. You need a live office with people walking in, trying to sell, trying to buy, to recreate that, in my view. And also I think that, you know, people post this crisis will be looking for agents that are at the coalface, that they can get hold of, that they can walk in and chat to, and will be there for you. And this will end. I know it's tough and it's not going to end soon. Be a few weeks yet, maybe 2-3 weeks time, but it will get back to normal, albeit slowly, and we will be there with you, making sure that your property needs are looked after. Hope you're well. Take care of your families. Enjoy the time off, because it won't last forever, and we'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, share and like. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.